Okay, we are live. I'm excited to be here tonight. Hello, I am Alice Keeler, and I am here with the super awesome Anna Hartranft, who I love. She is one of my besties. Really, honestly, one of the nicest people. So if you don't know Anna, I'm excited to introduce you to her and hope that you will connect up with her later. Anna's at a coffee shop, but she is still going to jump in, and we're here to help you to work smarter, but not harder. If you are a Google Classroom user, which I, of course, am, I love Google Classroom, but there's always ways to do things better. All right, so now I don't have Melody, my good friend, helping me with the StreamYard, so I hope all of you will be very patient as I make many mistakes. Actually, that's one of my themes of my math class that I teach, is that we're going to create a culture where we want to share our mistakes, because of course we make mistakes. We're all human. So I'm Alice Keeler. I am the co-author of the book Stepping Up to Google Classroom, and I have Anna Hartranft, and I have this nifty little banner that I want to try. It says Dr. Anna Hartranft, Director of Instructional Technology. So Anna, what kind of things do you do as the Director of Instructional Technology?
Well, the really fun thing I did earlier this week was have a live chat with a teacher in Ukraine. And neither of us spoke each other's language, but we still had a regular 30-minute instructional workshop. Shout out to Google Translate, plus Google Meet, Google Classroom, Schoolytics. I get to chat with teachers all over the world. And the thing about Google Classroom is it's really universal. The issues that teacher had, the benefits, the drawbacks, all of it, very universal. So that translated.
Wow, awesome. In the Ukraine. Well, I have been playing with ChatGPT. I'm going to be at FETC and TCEA. I think Anna's going to be at TCEA, and I might try to peer pressure her into hanging out too. We do a group chat, meet up with people to chat about the impact of what it's going to mean on Google Classroom, on teaching, on grading, on all of that, ChatGPT. Now, what I did do today is I signed up with Zapier to have it automatically draft a response to any important emails in my inbox. So I am already today working smarter instead of harder. I still have to edit it. A couple of the responses that it automatically made just were almost the exact same message the person sent me. So I'm like, that's not helpful. But it only took me a second to realize that's not helpful. And I'm back in the same position I was anyway, where I have to start from scratch. But there were a few emails that I got where the response was like, yep, that is good. And I was able to just send it. And so I spend more time working on my presentation today and less time emailing. So that is my hack of the day of how I, Alice Keeler, am working smarter and not harder. All right, if you are joining us, let me get rid of that. If you are joining us, please go to alicekeeler.com/smarter2023, because you're going to be able to join in our conversation. Anna and I are here to just kind of chat about what we like about Google Classroom, our favorite tips, and ways to be more efficient. But we'd love to specifically try to solve all your problems, or at least give you a warm hug. So alicekeeler.com/smarter2023. Should have made this into a ticker. See, if Melody was here, she would have made it into a ticker for me. Okay, get that down in the chat. All right, so Anna's going to be at TCA. I'm going to be at TCA. I'll be FETC on Tuesday, so I hope you'll all come find me. And if you are at either of these events and want to talk to us more about what we're talking about today, please come on by. We have Jeremy here. He is excited about the implications of ChatGPT 3.5 and 4 when it's released on education. I'm not going to lie. I am so excited about the implications. So there's an OpenAI summit next week, so I'm looking forward to Jeremy's summary. Anna, have you looked into ChatGPT and AI yet?
Oh yeah, it's. I had it help me draft blog posts. Like what's known about this topic. I was challenging myself, like, does this AI know more about instructional technology than me? It might, and what else did I do? I had it write a poem to a friend. The list is endless.
Yeah, it doesn't really save me as much time as much as I spend less time staring at a blank screen. So it gives me something to start with. So this is my blog post from today. Like I said, I'm going to FETC. I hope to see all of you. Love to chat with you about Google Classroom, working smarter, not harder. So come find me. This is my schedule, and it's right there on alicekeeler.com. And if you scroll down, I have underneath where I'm going to be at this week for those of you who would like to join. I have 25 reasons teachers should attend the FETC Educational Technology Conference. And that would take a long time to generate such a list, but I use ChatGPT and I put it there. I said, I use ChatGPT. I got 25 things that you really get out of going to a tech conference. Although I think the best reason to go is the hallway conversations, just talking with teachers. I mean, the sessions are fine. They're good. Some of them are great. But I really enjoy just meeting people in the vendor hall, chatting with people in the hallway, going to coffee. What are you doing? And sharing our strategies so that we're working smarter and not harder. You see how terrible I am at doing the StreamYard? I forgot to take down Jeremy's comment. But, he's one of our favorite people, so don't mind leaving him up there for a while. Okay, go back to comments. We have Marcia here. Marcia says she suggested ChatGPT to a student struggling on writing discussions. Now, this is a whole other topic, and maybe we could do one of these later, but I think it's really going to be a game changer for some of our students with disabilities and just writer's block, which is all of us. So lots of fun implications. The art in the prompt engineering, it's the art. Oh, yes. Learning how to ask it questions and really be creative, critical thinkers. I think it's going to be the fun way that we're going to learn to use ChatGPT. And yeah, Jeremy's like, just keep me up all day. So we'd love to have you join in. So I hope, Jeremy, that you have filled out my Google form at alicekeeler.com/smarter2023. All right, so we are chatting about Google Classroom, and there's so many things that I love about Google Classroom. Hello, I've written 3 books on it. It's really one of my favorite tools. So now last semester, I was being kind of hybrid with using Google Classroom and another LMS. The school that I'm teaching at is not a Google Classroom school. So I'd set one up, and there's some ways that you can use, your school uses Canvas, your school uses Schoology or whatever, that you can still take advantage of some of the things that Google Classroom does and use your LMS, that was fine. But there are some things that I just really didn't like that I love about the other LMS that I really love about Google Classroom, because I'm really about student interactions. Our LMS just shouldn't be a box that we throw stuff in, but I'm looking for personal connections, ways that I can give faster, more meaningful feedback. And in this other LMS, I could put a comment. I have no idea if they read it. They can't reply back. I love this about Google Classroom. They can reply back to the comments. That's huge. To have a two-way conversation, to be able to do feedback loops. This is one of the main reasons that I just keep coming back to Google Classroom, is it's really designed, and you have to use it this way, but around collaboration, interactions, feedback loops. So this semester, I just said, the heck with this, and I'm going 100% Google Classroom. And I honestly, I was crying a little bit earlier today. I asked my students after class to reflect in the private comments. How did it go? What did you struggle with? What are your connections? How are you going to use what we learned? And, they were able to just tell me what things they really appreciated about the activities that we did. And I literally just it was really validating and super motivating that I want to go back. And then it's in private comments, right? So I just reply back and I'm having conversations, and really that quick interaction, the longer between finishing something and giving feedback, the less they care. So we had class yesterday. I'm trying to make that my priority to reply today. And I know that makes a big difference. I know that they're going to feel more connected to my class and feel more motivated about learning math. So those are things that I really love about Google Classroom. And we have another comment. from Jeremy. We are going to keep him on here all night. Hi, Jeremy. Check out the folks at aiedu.org. So there's a resource. It's not about Google Classroom, but we're all excited about the future of artificial intelligence, because even if you're not, it's coming. And I'm interested to know how that's going to impact using Google Classroom. Hi, Isabel. Thanks for joining us tonight. I appreciate that. She would like to connect Google Classroom with a site where she could have the book units and material. Well, you could just use Google Sites. That's one of the tools that I use. And because Google Sites saves to Google Drive, it is really easy to add them into Google Classroom and to connect the students back and forth. So to build a Google site, you can just start with sites.new. So just type, oops, not that computer. I've got two computers in here. Type in sites.new. It'll start you a new Google site. So I hope that that answers your question. So thanks. All right, so what do you love about Google Classroom? You can ask yes, I'm asking, you'll answer that. AliceKeeler.com/smarter2023. So we'd love to have you join the conversation. And while we wait for you to respond, Anna, what are some of your favorite things about Google Classroom?
Beyond just the collaboration tools that you talked about, Alice. Can you hear me? We're back, right? Okay. Beyond just the collaboration tools, I like that I can get on from any device. I have lots of devices. I can pick up where I left off. It's saving for me all the time. The drive is really searchable. There's so many things that make it easy to use from anywhere. And as teachers, we're going into different classrooms, we're picking up a Chromebook, we're showing something. We're not emailing ourselves links anymore. We're just logging in and it's got everything.
I love the mood music there, Anna, from your coffee shop. Now, you said that you could log in from any device, which is a great tip, but then you said it's searchable. Can you expand on that?
I was thinking about the drive. So for myself, I live in Drive, and I love the search that's in the Google Drive.
That is definitely one of my favorite things, because Google Classroom is really Google Drive management. Anything that students add into an assignment is automatically added into a Google Drive folder. Unfortunately, the music can't be turned off because she's at a coffee shop, but she is being very good about muting when she is not talking. Sorry about that. You know, we all do our best, and Anna is one of the best at doing her best, and I appreciate her. So thanks. Thanks for finding a place to join me today. Excited about that. Anyway, Google Drive management. So when they turn anything in, it goes into a folder in Google Drive, which just makes it a lot simpler. With this other LMS that I was using, I had to download all of the files, which means I had to do it all at once. It made it very difficult if students, why are all students on the same pacing guide? Technology should allow us to rethink what we've always done. So Google Classroom allows me to realize that some students need more time. And the challenge of trying to collect and organize papers is one of the reasons that we didn't. Not because it was good for learning. It's just a necessity of survival through all of the paperwork. Okay, so we have a comment. Is there a way to keep the classroom files from showing up in my Drive searches? I actually do have a great tip for that. So no, because in Google Classroom, when they submit the work, you are the owner. So it's like they're literally your files, right? So how are you going to keep your files from being in your Google Drive? But what you want to do is anything that is yours and it's your original, you want to star it. Now, when you star it in Google Drive, it's easy. Just single click on the file in Drive and press S to star. So that's how you can star Jamboard files or anything. Or when you're like looking at your Google Doc or your Google Slides, up next to the title, there's a little star and you can star it. This is the habit to get into, because then when you search Google Drive, you filter for starred and then all the student work goes away. So if you're really good about starring anything that's yours, then you're going to be able to find just your stuff and get rid of all of the student work. So that's a great tip for working smarter and not harder. It's hardly any work. Whatever you're opening, it's yours. Star it. A student exemplar that you want to use years from now, star it. And so then you're just going to start using your drive with the filter of starred. And so I hope that that helps. Okay, we have a request. Anna, could you send her the site that you recommended? Maybe you could put that down into the chat. Mohammed, thanks for joining us. Glad that you are here. All right, Anna, anything else that you love about Google Classroom?
I think you nailed it.
Okay. There's many more things that I love about it, but we don't want to spend all night. And I do have some books that you can read if you want to learn more about things I love about Google Classroom. But we're here tonight to help you solve some of your problems. But we're going to start with, what do you love? And I'm going to just do a little refresh here. Yep, and that removed my notes. Okay, there we go. So next, work smarter. I love that my students don't struggle to use it and how I can save assignments and reuse as needed. Yes, Stacy, it does have a lower threshold of like being able to just get started, right? On some other things, platforms that I've used, they're really confusing how to navigate around, but it's still a little confusing for students. So if I could give a tip for this to work smarter rather than harder, is I don't send students to go to Google Classroom. I don't say go to classroom.google.com. But what I do is I'm looking at the classwork page. I look at the classwork page, and as I'm looking at the classwork page, I copy that link. That link will take you to the classwork page at the top. Control L highlights the URL, friends. And then I share out that link. Like I might email it to them, or I go to bit.ly and I make a tiny URL out of the classwork page link, so that instead of going directly to Classroom, they go directly to the classwork page because it's organized by topics. And I have a today topic because I hate hearing, what are we doing today? What are we doing today? It says today. And I put everything there that I want to work on for that day. So those are my tips for that. Okay. Being able to reuse assignments from quarter to quarter. Yes, Darla. And here's one of my work smarter, not harder tips. Every unit or every grading period, at least, make a new Google Classroom. It allows you to be a lot more creative with your topics. So it doesn't have to be Unit 1, Unit 2, Unit 3. And instead, I can do it as resources, projects, study tips. I can organize the topics more creatively, but I can also archive the previous class. So when I'm in Unit 3, I'm done with Unit 2. So if I archive Unit 2, they can't keep turning it in, and allows me to focus on that one class. And the other benefit to that is it's a lot easier to reuse your assignments next year when you're in the same unit, right? I reuse Unit 2 from Unit 2, and I'm not having to search through all of the assignments from the whole year. So that is one of my tips. We have some more over here. Thanks for all the comments, everybody. So yes, Star. It's so simple on Star. It is just a built-in feature into Google Drive. So please, I do that. I encourage you to. Yeah, it's easy to forget as well. If we have a heart shape, thanks, Debbie. Thanks for being here. Question, I do assignments and want to save it to load later, but I want to copy the link. Oh, yes, the links only work if it is an active assignment. So what you can do is copy the link to the topic, and you send them to the topic instead of sending them to the assignment. So here is your hack. You can create a topic that has the draft assignment in it. Now you're going to need to have something else, anything else, like a material, just says upcoming, because if there's nothing published in the topic is invisible also, right? So if you have a topic just for the upcoming, and then you can link them to that topic, even though the assignment is not published yet. So that's That's definitely a hack. I don't know if that's working smarter, not harder, because that seems like more work, but I would like to help give you some tips. That's the best I can do. I use your directions to make a file cabinet Google Classroom. Yay, Diana. Awesome. I'm going to upgrade this a little bit. That is definitely what I used to do, is I'd make a Google Classroom just for saving assignments that I want to reuse or sharing them. But there's a feature in Schoolytics. And hold on, I'm going to switch over here because I'm really awkward at this. Schoolytics.com, where you can create your filing cabinet of assignments. And here's a little trick. You can actually share those assignments pretty easily with other teachers without having to do the hacking of Google Classroom. So what is the shortcut to find an assignment to reuse? I'm so glad you asked. I did used to have several hacks and a whole flow chart of here's how you can reuse assignments. But Schoolytics actually has solved that for me. So it is searchable. It is searchable at Schoolytics.com and free. And you can just reuse assignments from there. Now, since Anna actually works for Schoolytics, maybe she could expand on that a little bit.
Yeah, so if you go to the workspace in Schoolytics, it used to be called the library, and that kind of made sense to me. The idea is it's your library of assignments. You can store them in folders, and then you can share those folders of assignments with other teachers. So it's truly becoming more of a file cabinet and less of assignment by assignment. And I'll drop some links in the chat so you can see what that looks like.
Great, thank you. Yeah, so for those of you who had a little bit of a hard time there, the workspace, there's a workspace feature in Schoolytics that will allow you to create essentially a filing cabinet of assignments that are shareable. So I hope that hack makes it a little bit easier and searchable, Diana, and searchable. Okay, I'm going to come back here, turn that, wait a minute. And I really need Melody. She's so much better at using StreamYard than I am. Thanks for hanging in, guys. I have an agenda section for sure. They do still ask. I have a today section. What are we doing today? They still ask. Be consistent. Don't answer it. Just really, it's on Google Classroom. Do you have any question about the assignment? Don't do it for them. It is enabling. They can find it. And the key here is that's what I do every day, is I don't tell them what we're doing. I don't write it on the board because my board is Google Classroom. So go look at what we're doing today, and then I'll talk about it. But then when we have a sub, they know what to do because it's the same process all of the time. I really, there's so much like extra room on the side of the stream. I really don't understand why they can't just have the stream as the sidebar of the classroom, because to me, that would make a lot of sense. But who listens to me? Did I hear correctly that a new classroom for every unit and then you archive? Yes, you did hear correctly. I totally do this. It is a great tip. I encourage you to do it. I'll take some pushback, but it works for me. And archiving it gets it out of the students. They can't turn stuff in, and I move on, and I get to do all kinds of more creative things. So for sure. All right, I took the tip last year and started a new classroom for each trimester. Thanks, Stacey. It is helpful. So I do it every unit. If that's too much for you, at least do it every grading period. And then you're able to see how they're doing this grading period compared to last grading period, which is very helpful. Hi, Emily. Thanks for joining. She says, smarter, of course, like artificial intelligence. Yes, thank you. Hi, Christy. She says Schoolytics is her, is Schoolytics or Google Classroom? Because you've got Schoolytics in here. So it's my favorite thing in the whole world. Schoolytics even makes the copies attached to them. So I'm going to assume she's talking about the filing cabinet of sharing assignments from Google Classroom. It is a game changer for sure. I mean, we all know that that's definitely one of our pain points with Classroom is how to share assignments, and you can do it for free at Schoolytics.com. I made a little thing. Free at Schoolytics.com. All right. I love all of these comments. Thanks, everybody. She says, wait, I got to back up. I think I'm. Okay, yes, that was out of context. right? It's a useful tool to use ChatGPT. I don't want to say no more writing. I certainly do just as much with technology, and don't need to write any. All right, there's a side conversation going here. That's all right. So consistency helps all students succeed. Absolutely. Thanks, Marcia. Great tip. If I make a copy of a Google Doc of any kind, will I ever lose it if the original creator deleted the original? If you've made a copy, you're the owner, then you won't lose it. So that's kind of the trick or the hack. When you archive a classroom, what if you have documents you want them to still have access to? They'll still have access to it in view only. So they'll still be able to look at it, but they won't be able to like type on it, edit, or submit when you've archived a class. And you can still get data about it in Schoolytics, even if it's archived, which is important because I need that information. I need to be smarter than the students. Good luck. I like to say that that's not my aim is we learn together. I think in an age of Google and YouTube, the name of the game is, well, I don't know, let's look it up and we construct knowledge together, because if we feel we have to be smarter, we're going to, like you said, feel like we're always behind playing whack-a-mole. But the Google Classroom with the Google Docs and the, what do they call it? Anyway, it will check and see if their paper is the same as other students' papers from Drive. So it does have that feature, and I know what it's called, and I'm just blanking for a second. Thank you. All right. Yes, you need to get on the Schoolytics train. That is for sure. Thanks for saying that. And Google Classroom and Schoolytics work together. So it's not a one-stop shop if you are using both of them, but it definitely helps me to work smarter and not harder. Okay, I'm going to keep going here. Our district, Jefferson County Public Schools. Hey, Kirk. I'm like, this must be Kirk. Sure enough, it's my buddy Kirk. Has added features like Paradox, and the students can find the materials easily. Yes, those new add-ons. Now you have to have the upgraded version of Google Classroom to have the add-ons, but those are definitely very cool. Like book widgets. You can just create a book widget, which has some really fun, engaging activities for students just right in Google Classroom. So I definitely recommend. I'm going to go back over here and get rid of that so we can all see what's going on. Okay, what else do you have about Google? Right, Angel says he can use it on his phone. I totally recommend the Google Classroom app, but I turn off notifications on my phone because I actually like the notifications in my email, and I'm going to get into that in a second. Okay, Debbie says she has an issue uploading her to the LMS that works with Google Classroom, Infinite Campus. So that is really Infinite Campus. So it is the integration made by Infinite Campus. It's kind of a side thing. It's not a built-in native feature to Google Classroom. Anna, does Schoolytics do Infinite Campus integration?
There are integration options, but I don't think Infinite Campus is one of the most robust. Schoolytics will build any integration that a district asks for, but it's kind of first come, first serve. So I do know the PowerSchool integration is out.
So the PowerSchool integration. Can you put the integrations down into the chat? Okay. Yep, you can get them on both. I'm just saying what I do. They're tips, not rules. I get a lot of notifications from Google Classroom, so and then I just get a lot of text messages, and so my phone's just blowing up all day. So I had to turn off the Google Classroom one. What other GC add-ons would you suggest? Well, I use book widgets. Anna, do you know any of the other Google Classroom add-ons? I don't have any that I want to suggest. There's a lot of great ones. You should definitely explore them. I love to use quizzes, and you don't have to use the add-on integration. I just use it straight from quizzes.com. Put me on the spot, and then I'm blanking. Do I have any tips for making it easier to grade in Google Classroom? I totally do. Thanks for asking. It can be a bit of a hassle to do that. And the rubrics you can attach to the assignments sort of. So that is definitely a hack. So I will make my rubric in a spreadsheet, and I add the rubric as make a copy per student, and then I'm marking the rubric on the spreadsheet in there so that we can share the data, because I want students to self-assess first. I require they self-assess first because weirdly, the Google Classroom rubric students cannot assess themselves, and I can't export the data. It makes it there's nothing I can really do with the data when I do the rubric in Classroom. So I do my rubrics in a spreadsheet, but I'll use the Google Classroom rubrics. It really speeds up just tallying up points. So it's not really a technical definition of a rubric. It's more of a scoring guide. So I use the Google Classroom rubric as a scoring guide. I don't know that I can help you with the StreamYard chat. I struggle as well, but of course I'm trying to manage the screen share and the chat and these little ticker things. Ticker, look at that. But then I have to switch back. I'm doing my best. I need an assistant. Yes, Tina, the organization. That is really what is great to me about Google Classroom, is it really helps me organize all those assignments and Drive files. I have some tips for that. And it's so easy to grade and turn in assignments for students. Yes, thank you, Tammy. And being consistent about that. I collect everything through Classroom in some format or another. I do a lot of paper, but I still make the assignment in Classroom. So I have this consistent workflow, and it's a great place. I put the feedback comments in there, and I love to use Mote, because Mote I can give voice feedback, and that's a lot faster and more personal. And I just Control-V paste it into the private comments in Google Classroom. All right, so Anna says Schoolytics has integrations with Infinite Campus, PowerSchool, Blackbaud, and Synergy. Oh, you know who Blackbaud is with EverFi K-12. I love EverFi K-12. So those are two separate things, but they are part of the same company, just saying. Okay, yes, Sonia, it's easy access for all. You just log in with your Google account, right? Just easy to pop in there. Our students all have Google stuff if you're a Google school, so Classroom really makes sense. Anna says they also have Google Classroom, Schoology, Transparent Classroom, and Canvas integration with Schoolytics. So if you are not a Google Classroom user, I'm not really sure why you're in this presentation, because we are talking Google Classroom today. But if you just wish you were a Google Classroom user, Schoolytics will also work maybe with what your school is using, which is not what my school uses. None of that on that list. Of course not. The user-friendly format to assign individual and group assignments. My adult students catch on quickly. That's great, Marcia. I always find group work a little bit challenging in Google Classroom, so definitely got to figure out a workflow that works for you. But once you get it, it works really well, getting things out there. Jill says how easy it is to make student copies of Google Apps, Google Docs, Google Sheets, Google Slides. Absolutely quick and easy to pass that out. And here's to me the game changer though. Yeah, it makes it easy to give every student a copy, but I have access to it while they're working on it. So my trick is I go to Google Drive. So when I go to the assignment and I can see all the students' little thumbnail of their work, right above that is a little folder icon, and that opens the folder in Google Drive where all the student work is sorted. And then I get a timestamp. So I can sort student work by timestamp, and the ones at the bottom that were last opened the day I assigned it, they didn't work on it. Don't open it. That tip alone saves me a lot of time. Don't open student work that hasn't been worked on. Oh, Anna's on a roll. Schoolytics also has assessment integrations, NWEA maps, iExcel, iReady, Illuminate. So if your school uses any of those tools, please have them contact Dr. Hartranft. Anna, can you put in your scheduling link, please? Share that, how to set up a meeting with Anna. She's like seriously one of the nicest people ever. She'll just have a nice, warm, huggy chat with you. And there's a question for Anna from Debbie. How do I activate the SIS integrations with Infinite Campus? It shows PowerSchool. Not sure how to change it. So Debbie, I'm going to let Anna answer that down in the chat, since it's a little specific to Infinite Campus. As with most products, Schoolytics is freemium. So those integrations of Infinite Campus are part of the premium model. So contact Anna. She'll give you the information. Thanks, Debbie. Okay, next. Okay, Colleen, she can't say that she loves it. It just is. Well, I would love to help you love it. So I've got the next question is, what things do you need help with? So Colleen, jump in there. All the documents are one place. Thanks, Annie. The documents and student work are organized, and we can put their marks directly on their work. Thank you. Wakito, yes, it is very versatile. There's a lot of things that you can do and be creative with Google Classroom. Debbie says the simplicity of it for my students. It is user-friendly for both teachers and students, and I love that everything is housed in one place. Oh my gosh, Amanda, right? Just everything in one place is all I want. In fact, tools that don't have Google Classroom integration, I'm just like, I don't need that. I need to like be able to have a central place that I work from. And yeah, it's Google, so it interfaces with all the things Google. Agreed. Those are things that I love as well. The ability to communicate with students and keep all of my assignments organized. Thanks, Trisha. Thanks for jumping in. I can work efficiently, can log in with my Google account. Thanks, Melanie. Alex says he's able to share Google Docs without forgetting to share. I mean, that was one of the biggest problems that Google Classroom solved is how many times you share a document and the student's like, I don't have access. And it's just like, oh my gosh, hold on. Solves that problem. Oh, Kelly B says her second grade students are so comfortable with Google Classroom and she hopes that it never goes away. Yes, even for our younger students, Google Classroom is a great tool. Thank you. All right, being able to add things from Drive, right, Alyssa? All the student work is in a folder in Google Drive. Thank you, Jax. But of course, not everything is amazing. A lot of things are amazing, but nothing's perfect. There's definitely some things that are not as efficient as I would like them to be. So if you want to fill out that same Google form, alicekeel.com/smarter2023. I'm going to put that down here in the chat. So if you're watching, be sure to tell us what you feel like you're inefficient at. I mean, this is really my jam. I love to just walk around campus. I'm like, what are you doing? That looks inefficient, and go back and make some sort of tool, resource, Google form, flow chart, access database. Now what I do is I make add-ons for Google Docs, Google Sheets, Google Slides. Oh, Kelly B, you're breaking my heart. I would love to help you get better with spreadsheets. No one loves spreadsheets more than me. The answer is always a spreadsheet. What? I'd like to challenge you. What could you not do with a spreadsheet? Oh, Meredith's here. Hi, Meredith. Thanks for joining in. So yes, I'm all about working smarter, not harder, to like what kind of things the teachers have to do that are just take a lot of time. For example, just opening up an individual Google Doc per student and giving feedback. I'm going to type this in the chat. HTTP. Here we go. AliceKeeler.com/pull the paragraph. Did I spell it right? Hope so. Pull the paragraph. My husband's an English teacher. And so, of course, he has to open up a Google Doc for every student. That takes a long time. 140 students takes a long time. So I have this alicekeel.com/pull the paragraph is going to allow you to read all of the student responses in one place. It's a spreadsheet, Kelly B. It's a spreadsheet. You're going to love it. It's amazing. You're going to see a list of all of so it's the student's name, first paragraph, second paragraph, third paragraph, next student's name, each of the paragraphs. You can leave feedback and push it back to them. That's going to save you a lot of time. Those are the kinds of things that I'm like, oh my gosh, we got to find a better way to do this. I also have, if you go to alicekeeler.com/coded-by-Alice, this is where I really started going to alicekeeler.com/coded-by-Alice to share things to help be more efficient for teachers. Like this doc to slides, it will turn your Google Doc into a Google Slides. It's like magic. You're going to love it. You can print your Google Forms. Quiz Helper, if you use Google Forms for quizzes, you're going to want to install the Quiz Helper add-on because it's a lot of clicks. And when you put feedback in there, how do students get the feedback back? So Quiz Helper will make a report of your feedback and send it to the students. If you do rubrics in Google Classroom, they're very slow to make. And so we use a spreadsheet, and it is actually faster and easier to save. And roster extras, I coded this one for Schoolytics. It's sponsored by Schoolytics, and what that is going to allow you to do is to take your export of your roster from Schoolytics. You can export your class roster for free into Google Sheets. It's awesome. In fact, all the reports and all the information you can get off of Schoolytics go to a spreadsheet. And then so now I have this really cool spreadsheet of the student's name. It has their email, it has some information on it depending on which one I exported. And then I do other cool things with it. Like, well, what can I do with the roster? So it makes popsicle sticks. It'll turn your student roster into Google Slides. So every student is assigned their own slide. All kinds of cool ways to use your Schoolytics Google Sheets spreadsheet. That's an add-on that will help you with that. And I don't have very many installs on this clear rectangle. Can somebody please install it? I use this all the time. It's so fun. It allows me to put a clear rectangle on my Google Slides. So when I click directly on the slide, it opens whatever website I want to share with students. I think you should like it, but that's just me. What do I know? Okay. Where was it? It is alicekeeler.com/coded-by-Alice is where you're going to find all of my add-ons. And every single one of them was designed to help you work smarter and not harder. Wow, that's inefficient. And this is how I try to help you to do that better. Definitely check out the roster extras if you're going to be using Schoolytics. Got some fun features in there. So what we're trying to do is we're trying to save some time. That's what's in the shortest supply for teachers is time. And what I desperately want the most is to have more time to have amazing learning experiences with my students and interactions with my students. And sometimes I just feel like so exhausted because I feel like I'm just working harder than I need to. I'm like, there's got to be an easier way to do this. So that's what I'd like to talk with you all about tonight. One of the keys to working smarter, not harder, is to really be consistent. If you're not consistently using Google Classroom in the same way, then it's confusing for you, it's confusing for the students, and it's going to make more problems than it solves. So really think about how you want to organize it. Google Classroom is designed to be organized by topics on the classwork page. And the other thing I do to be consistent is I add hashtags to all of my Google Classroom assignments. Just when I'm writing in the description and the directions, I'm just like hashtag assignment, hashtag DOK2, hashtag group work, whatever's we're doing, I do that because it really helps give me a lot of insights of how my students are performing. So I create an assignment, not a material. Don't post them as materials, post them as assignments and add a 3-digit number. And it's really important you do the hashtag. So I do hashtag 001. This is honestly my best tip. I'm going to type this down. 01, 02, 003, etc. Let me post this up here. So when I number all of my assignments, I tell my students we're working on number 3, and I don't even say the rest of the title. You're missing number 7, 12, 45. Can you get on those? The numbers really help shorten how many words I need to use to get students on task. But also it's easier to search and find those assignments in Gmail, in Google Drive, and in Classroom. post the link to my site again. Sure. The link to my site is alicekeeler.com/coded by Alice. My website's actually just alicekeeler.com. And I have a lot of things. It's alicekeeler.com/pull the paragraph, alicekeeler.com/coded by Alice. But my main website is alicekeeler.com, and I have a lot of tips on there about working smarter, not harder with Google Classroom. And I have a lot of posts about how to use Schoolytics as well. I don't know who this is, but apparently we are best friends. Of course. Thanks, E. Kelly B. Debbie, here we go. Debbie, for reals, this is my best tip. If that's all you take away is, and the hashtag, trust me on this. I'm a numbers person. I'm numbers, data. Do the hashtag. It's very helpful. Look, all these people jumping in to back me up. So much better. You know what I've never wanted to do? Alphabetize my assignments. Never wanted to do that. So when I alphabetize assignments in Google Drive, they actually alphabetize by number 1, number 2, number 3, right? So they are in the order that I assign them, which has many advantages. E. Kelly B is going to be the tech teacher next year. So I hope that you'll use some of these tips from tonight. And Annie says numbering is also great when you're talking to parents, right? You tell them the numbers of the missing assignments and they get them done. I'm going to go one step further here, though. Annie, Schoolytics has a missing assignments report, and it is even easier to share with parents, and that is going to up your game and make it so much faster and easier to help students to get back on track and to really partner with parents. I do not reuse numbers. Number 4 is number 4. So sometimes what I'll do is at the semester, I just start in with number 200. Like, so I ended at 75 or whatever. What happened to 100? What happened to 115? Who cares? Second semester, I start numbering at 200. The number's irrelevant, but I do want it to be unique. And Jill adds emojis. Yes, you should add emojis for your kinders, but I recommend that you add emojis for all of your students. I'm teaching a graduate level math class at night on Tuesday nights, and I just went through and I added emojis to all of the grading categories, although I don't use them as grading categories. That is my hack. Instead of, test, homework, quiz, whatever, I do it as the type of activity, like warm up, group activity, project, independent practice, the type of activity is what I put on there so I can categorize it. Yes! One of my favorite people, Hedrick Nichols. Please make sure you check out her book, especially as we have Black History Month coming up. She has some great books about Black Lives Matter movement and other super resources that would be really great for you to read to your students. Hedrick Nichols, thanks for joining us tonight. Appreciate you. Now, if you can get everybody to be consistent, like what kind of ways do you all agree to organize Google Classroom? Then with that consistency, then the students are going to all have that consistency that they're going to use Google Classroom better. But also then when you go into Schoolytics and you pull reports and you really want to support students and interact with parents, having that school-wide consistency makes all the difference. Okay, so one of the ways that I work smarter is I try to avoid opening up Google Docs, like make a copy for every student. That sounds terrible. I think about it like poison. You can drink a little bit of poison and live, but a lot of poison will kill you. So I do sometimes give my students their own individual copies of documents, but let's remember that we are using collaborative tools. So I like to have all the students on the same Google Slides or the same spreadsheet, or I like to use self-grading websites like quizzes. I need to cut down the amount of digital paperwork that I have. So one of the ways that I cut down on digital paperwork is I use no documents. I have them just answer in the private comments. Now, their answer shouldn't be more than a chunky paragraph, maybe a couple sentences to a chunky paragraph. So anything that's more than a paragraph, okay, then we'll do it in a Google form or a Google Doc or something else. But if it's not a long answer, why not just answer in the private comments? So what's amazing about that is it changes it from being a comment or just a paper they turn in into this feedback loop where I can give them tips and suggestions. And then I return it without a score so they can resubmit and update their answer. And it's just so great for building relationships, having interactions with students. And I'm able to do it a lot faster because I don't have to open up any documents. It's just straight up all in Google Classroom. Now, where I'm working harder is that generates an email. And I get a lot of emails of the students putting it into the private comments. I was reading my private comments today for my students because, like I said, I have them all reflect in the private comments after class. And they all had, well, not all of them, but a lot of really nice things that they said. But some are like, there's just so many like notifications from Google Classroom from the private comments, since I'm having them do it in the private comments. So this is my trick. I teach my students, I'm going to next week, I teach them how to filter their Gmail, and I filter my Gmail. So up at the very top where it says search in mail, you got that little filter icon, which looks like, I don't know, 3 lines with arrows on it, I guess. And then where it says has the words, oh, you know what? I did that wrong. You actually want to do that in the subject line, not has the words. My screenshot here is all wrong. Stop looking at that. It's in the subject line says added a private comment on, and you create a filter for any emails that the subject says added a private comment on. And then when those emails come in, I set it to skip the inbox, label it as private comment. So what that's going to do is going to move all of those private comments into a folder so they're not clogging up your email. But then I go into that folder and I can see all the private comments, and it makes it really easy to jump in and give that personal feedback back to students. Now, here's where it's important with the numbering. So I answer one student, well, I answer them all while I'm in there. So all the emails for assignment number 12, I answered. So I just search hashtag 012 in Gmail, and then I delete them all because I already answered them. Okay. I like the idea to use as a type of assignment instead of a grading category. I mean, that really is a fun hack. I beg you, do not let Google Classroom calculate your grades. It will do it wrong. You have very little control over it. It's probably the worst algorithm on the market for grade books. Seriously, grade books is what I was studying for when I was working on a doctorate. Dropped out. Let's not talk about it. So what happens when you have the grading category, it actually shows up on the assignment stripe. So I want students to know, like, this is a reading assignment. This is going to be class discussion. What is the type of assignment? And then I put that emoji on there. So it really funds up my Google Classroom classwork page. And I love your tip of having some canned responses in comments. Yeah, I totally do that in banks so that you can pull from them. Thank you for those. Okay. Now, about a little over a year ago, I stumbled across Schoolytics, and I'm like, I love this so much. I asked them to give me a job. Like, there was no job. They did not post a job. I'm like, this is like my favorite thing. Can I work for you, please? I don't work for them anymore. It's nothing personal. I still obviously love Schoolytics, but I decided I wanted to go on a world tour. So I'm going to Peru in a couple weeks. I'm going to teach some teachers down there, but I'm just back to doing consulting and teaching teachers, which is my ultimate passion, even though I still have a passion for Schoolytics. It is free for teachers, but honestly, you get so much more benefit out of it if your whole school will sign up. So make sure you encourage your administrator to check it out. Students turn in work. It's a hot mess. How do I tell that students turn work? Even when I go to the page, the to-do work page, they keep changing the name, where you can see that they've turned it in. It loads very slowly. It's still a lot of scrolling, and I don't know who turned in what last night. So Schoolytics solves that for me. I log into schoolytics.com. I go to the dashboard, and just says start grading, and I have a list of student work sorted by timestamp. I literally save hours every week. Every week. I've never turned in my grades on time in my life until I started using Schoolytics, because all the students turn in the work at the last minute. Well, Schoolytics makes it really easy for me to know what last minute work they turned in, and I'm able to get through it and turn in my grades on time. I would use the high fives feature this week, and it's just amazing. I just started the class. It's a new semester, so I really want to encourage them if they're doing a good job. So I jump into Schoolytics, I click on the high fives button, and it pushed to the stream, because a lot of students don't have email. You can do that too. You can push it on email, or you can push it to the stream. And it pushed an individual, one note per student, so only that student could see it. It says, hey, you're doing a great job. I'm proud of you. And I almost immediately had someone reply right back, with a, hey, thanks. Like they really felt good about it. So that's one of my new favorite things that Schoolytics does. Obviously, sharing assignments saves me so much time sharing it through Google Classroom or through Schoolytics, because you really can't share it through Google Classroom without a serious hack. And if you are not using the log in Schoolytics is glorious. I mean, every time you talk to a kid, talk to a counselor, talk to a parent, just squat down next to a kid and like, hey, let's do some goal setting here. Where do you mark that? And who else sees it? I mark it in a notebook. Nobody else sees it. It's just a hot mess of my notes all over the place. The log in Schoolytics allows other teachers who have that same student, and the counselor and the principal, you all have that same student. The logs are going to pull together. So you've got goes to the bathroom a lot in my class and goes to the bathroom a lot in your class. Like, you know what? Maybe we should have a chat about this. We're seeing a pattern. So you can actually really work as a team. You are going to love this log. It is so cool. All right, we have a few more. Oh, we already did that one. Have I worked with Luis Pertus? I have not. He learns from me, E. Kelly B. He learns from me. Trust me. Alice, do you have an app to question pool by forms? So just the design of Google Forms doesn't really make it feasible to do a question pool. When you go to the link for the form, everyone's going to get the same questions. So my hack for that is you can use alicekeeler.com/branching form, I think, branching form. And what you want to do is create a bunch of sections in your Google form and add different questions in each section. And then what I do is I ask some question like, what's your favorite food? What's your favorite color? And they each branch to a different section. So they kind of just end up with a different set of questions based on the branching features in forms. All right, and keep going here. Oh, I was going to ask Anna. Sorry. Anna, can you tell us about some of the new features in Schoolytics? And make sure you speak up.
All right, as loud as I can to get over this fun mute music. The logs are my new favorite. Like the logs are just hands down the best, because anyone that you have on your roster, you can see other teachers' logs on that student without having to be a co-teacher. I'll put this, but the logs are just.
Anna, you were cutting out a little bit, so I'm going to reiterate. You do not have to be co-teacher to share logs on students. I mean, that is huge. And the logs are just beautiful. I mean, even if you're not even using Google Classroom, just use the log feature in Schoolytics. It's awesome. I have the muted phrase of 2022. Okay. Yeah, no, Christy, it was me. I was muted. I'm really good at using technology, and I even do this. I hope that makes all of you feel better. Okay. I'm going to just move on to what other people said and stop talking about myself. Check out all the new features in Schoolytics. They're really cool. You're going to like it. Let me refresh over here. And I'm going to get to what you guys contributed. Okay. So what do you need to work smarter for with Google Classroom? Responding to the student private comments. Yeah, I'm back, Courtney. Yep, muting my mic. I was trying to be polite to Anna. That's my fault. Is there a log feature free or premium? We're going to call it freemium. Meredith, the logs are free, but if you really want to get maximum benefit, the only people who can see the logs are, of course, if they're rostered. So the counselor's not going to see it unless you have the school-wide account. The principal's not going to see it unless you have the school-wide account. So worth every penny, friends. Just wait until you see this log. You're like, Schoolytics is a log program. I'm getting it just for the logs. No, everything about it is very cool. But it is such a hot feature. I could just talk about it all night, honestly. Okay, responding to student private comments. Here's one of my first tips is I put my initials whenever I respond to students. I started with my initials because when I look at an assignment and I can see that there's private comments on that left side, is that my comment or is it the student's comment? So I know if it starts with AK, that's my comment and I already responded to it. So that saves me time. And the other is the one that I already showed you about filtering my Gmail. So I have a folder of all of the private comments, and that really helps me blast through them very quickly. And I turn on auto advance in my Gmail. So what I do is I see the email that says private comment. I open it. I click on the button so it launches in a new tab, and I delete it, and it automatically goes to the next email. That's not default. Those are settings you have to go turn on in Gmail. Okay. Thanks, Christine. I appreciate it. The roster extras by Schoolytics for Schoolytics is awesome. I'm glad that you like it too. I heard people wanting to be able to make a slide per student. So that's what I'm like, well, you need your roster. Who has the roster? Schoolytics does. Deleting old assignments individually. Tina, never delete assignments. I'm glad to help you with this. Don't do that. Don't delete assignments. Deleting data sounds terrible. Archive your class. Just archive it. So you just, for one unit, you have a Google Classroom for one unit, and then archive it. There you go. They're all deleted all at once. Poof. Problem solved. Please don't delete assignments. I wish I could have notification that students accessed a material assignment, not necessarily points, but that they opened it. Debbie, that's not going to happen. I have no hack for you. What you want to do is, well, here's a hack for you. Don't post the material, post a Google form. And then they have to fill out their Google form, and then you put the link to the resource in the confirmation message. So they have to fill out the form in order to get the resource, and then you know that they opened it. So that would be my only hack. Yes, get a little bit more proficient at grading. Grade less, grade fewer things, Christine. I have given a suggestion. If you guys want to like piggyback on that and send Schoolytics that you'd like the same thing, what I would like is when a student submits work that it drafts a full credit into Google Classroom. So then I just have to give everybody credit and edit the few people who didn't get full credit, because typing in 10 enter, 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 10 enter is tedious. And I make mistakes because someone just got 100 points. So if you want to go to schoolytics.com and send them feedback, and you're like, I want that thing Alice wants, just put that. They'll know. We'll see if we can maybe get that moved up on the list. Okay. E. Kelly B, I got you on cleaning out your drive, girl. Here's what you're going to do. You're going to create a folder in Google Drive, and you're going to call it Hot Mess. And you're going to take everything in your Google Drive, and you're going to dump it in that folder, and you're just going to start over. Boom. Now, as you open files, you're like, oh, I actually use this. Then you organize it as you use it. Just move forward. Move forward. Thanks, Meredith. All right. Next. Annie, you're not going to forget to grade assignments anymore. This is your lucky night. That's exactly what I use Schoolytics for. So it gives me all the information about whose turn and what assignments. and it's very motivating. It's gamified. So when I go in and I log in as a teacher, let me click on the teacher tab up here at the top. So it shows me, I'm all like zoomed out here. It says there's a little wheel here that shows what percentage of assignments I've graded. And this is the game I play with myself. I don't want to let my assignments graded drop below 86%. That's my magic number. Don't want it to drop below 86%. So when I log into Schoolytics every morning, I want to know, did students turn in work? It gives me some great information. I can reuse assignments. I start my day with Schoolytics. And if I see that wheel looking less than 86%, I feel highly motivated to get it above 86%. So I'll just even just grade a small chunk and not feel like I have to do everything right now. But if you want to set your target number, you're going to be, the grading pit of despair where you've just like, here's what I do. I get caught up, and then I have this euphoria of being caught up, and it lasts about 2 weeks. And then in 2 weeks, I realize that I'm back in the pit of despair, that I'm like way behind, and I have this nasty cycle. So I actually literally eliminated that cycle because I start my day, honest to goodness, I start my day at Schoolytics.com. This is going extra long. I appreciate everybody's participation. Oh, you're not seeing your Schoolytics tab. I see it on the screen. I don't know. This presentation is recorded. It is saved on my YouTube. So that is youtube.com/Alice Keeler. And I also have it in my Facebook group. So you'll be able to see it. And wherever you're watching it right now, it's going to still live forever. It is recorded. Our IT department is very choosy. Schoolytics is FERPA and COPA compliant. So have your IT person call Schoolytics. They'll talk them into it. And Celeste says she loves what she can do in Schoolytics. You guys, I'm going to go ahead and kind of wrap this up because we meant to go for 30 minutes. I appreciate all of the super energy here. I hope you got a lot of great tips. And if you filled out the Google form at the very end, it shows, oops, let me go to here. At the very end, it's got the link to sign up with Anna for a teacher workshop. And she would like to help you to continue to work smarter and not harder. Celeste, your school should approve anything I've made. I am a hardworking mom and teacher. I really, really don't want your data. And my privacy policy is I collect no PII, no personal identifying information. I am trustworthy. They should allow my stuff. I'm just saying. Yes. Yeah, who doesn't hate scrolling to find assignments from last year, Jenny? That's what Schoolytics is going to solve for you. All right. Thank you, everybody, for joining and for participating. I am Alice Keeler, and I really appreciate Anna Hartranft for joining with me. And I hope that you will work smarter and not harder. Have a good night, everybody.